Okay, I appreciate it. Sorry about the delay, folks. Everyone on the Zoom platform, as well as those in attendance. I never cease to provide difficulties for our IT department. I threw a curveball at them this morning. I'm zooming in from my house, so I apologize. I can't be there in person, and thank you again, Michael, for doing what you do, as well as the other folks in IT and the AV department. So thank you for that. If I could, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 9:14 a.m. Saturday, July 17th, Quapaw Nation Business Committee. So we'll go ahead and call it to order and ask Lloyd, could you go ahead and lead us in an invocation, please?
Oh, Father God, thank you for the beautiful day outside and the recent rain that makes everything good for the earth and for the people. We hope that we can come together here as common people for the good of our nation. Guide us in all the decisions we make. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Gonna gay. We have a roll call and declaration of quorum. Mr. Secretary Treasurer.
Jeremy. Michelle.
Present.
Zach. Lloyd.
Present.
Guy. Present. Callie.
Present.
Joseph.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Barker. Reading, correction, and approval of minutes and phone polls.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Guy. A second?
I'll second.
Second by Callie. Any discussion?
Question.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
1 moment.
Committee.
Discussion.
There's one phone poll, just needs correction on the minutes.
Okay. And which one?
It would be the one from June 1st, 2021. It says approved and it was denied. So just
Oh,
on the
okay.
phone.
Okay. So we want to make sure to include that it reflects a denial rather than being accepted or approved. And we got that in the minutes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
the vote was 4-3, which makes it approved.
No, you're looking at the wrong one.
No, that was a different one. I think there was two for June the 1st.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
the
my
second one.
mistake, sir.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Would again call for the question.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries and the minutes and phone polls are approved. Next, we have the approval, disapproval of the treasurer's report.
I'll move to accept.
We have a motion to accept by Callie,
Second.
second by Michelle. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries and the treasurer's report is approved. Next, we have the approval and disapproval of the directors and subcommittees reports that were submitted in our monthly packets.
Make a motion.
We have a motion to approve by Zach,
Second.
second by Guy. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Under the Department of Public Safety report, under the marshals, it lists 20-some categories of activity within the month. However, one just says other. I would like to know what those other are. I'd like to have that in their future reports.
Yeah, we can definitely Donna, can we take care of that and get some more detail? And it may be a situation where we can't be specific in that area, but if we can, let's go ahead and make it happen. Thank you, Mr. Buffalo. Any other discussion? Okay. If no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the motion carries and the directors and subcommittee reports are approved. Next, we have director reports, Ms. Susie Jackson from our Human Resources Department.
Morning. My name is Susie Jackson, and I'm the director of the HR department. We currently have 4 employees in the HR department. We have Jamie McNeely, who's here, and Carrie Rogers, as well as Elisa Petrie. We have a total of 318 employees, 300 full-time, 7 part-time or half-time, with 11 temporary employees. We currently have 161 Native Americans that are employed. And within those numbers, 98 of those are Quapaw tribal members. 22 spouse or caregivers of Quapaw tribal members, 35 veterans, which brings us to a total of 218 employees, which is 69% of employees are hired within the tribal preference policy. The HR department has been selected as the first department to move towards Laserfish, which is a document management application. And we're very excited about that process and moving forward. We're staying very busy so that we can approach it in a very positive manner and implement it within our department. We currently have the following positions open: truck driver, equipment operator, QSA project controller, OLC childcare position, paramedic firefighter, family service department planner, a compliance agent for QNGA, and an administrative receptionist for QNGA. On June 11th, we hosted an employee appreciation and we recognized the following individuals. We had 64 employees that reached 3 years, 26 5 years, 26 10 years, 1 at 15, 1 at 20, and 2 at 25. One of those 25-year employees are here. Could you stand? Which is Rhonda Weaver, who is the director of our Title VI program. We have started our planning sessions for open enrollment for 2022 plan year. We are also in the process of trying to wrap up an update on the Quapaw Nation Employee Handbook. As well, on July the 13th, we celebrated Tim Kent's retirement with almost 20 years of service and dedication to the Quapaw Nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that report, Susie, and all the employees, our staff there that continue to do the work that they do. It's much appreciated. And next we'll have Karen Hildreth with Museum.
Things are going well at the museum. Our visitor count has come up dramatically. As you know, we are still taking temperatures and monitoring people coming in. The shop's done well. I am having some trouble getting items in from Pendleton at this time due to back orders. So I have started selling another brand of items that have went over real well, and it's the new trends. They have a lot of Native American designed items for the gift shop. Got 2 new exhibits up and going. The full-length headdress is now on display, and an Eagle Dancer exhibit. Also got the kiosk up Thanks to IT. Right now, it only has pictures running on it. I've been working on the registrations, donations, payments for the Uga'xpa conference that will be held 28th and 29th at Downstream. Been working with ATAC. We had a fundraiser a couple weeks ago, raising money for Native American scholarship. That went over really well. We have our first cultural class tomorrow, a shawl class that Carolyn Knott will be teaching. Our first class at the museum for, I guess, a year and a half or so. And other than that, I guess just day-to-day operations.
Any questions for Karen? How many people do we have signed up for the language conference, Karen?
Like 17. I sent in 2 different registrations. I think one of them had 17 people and the other had 3. So I guess 20 right now.
Okay. And you said there were 2 new exhibits. What were those again?
Oh, the full-length headdress that Levon Gamachi from St. Louis donated to us. Out, and also an Eagle Dancer exhibit that Elizabeth Heron from Joplin had donated. And I never had a case that would play it right. And then we got a case from Downstream recently that was absolutely perfect for it. So it's up now too. So if you haven't been to the museum, you might want to look around, see something new.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Tribal Historic Preservation Office, Mr. Everett Bandy.
Good morning. My name is Everett Bandy, and I'm the director of the Historic Preservation Office. And we're primarily responsible for ensuring compliance with the Historic Preservation Act. So on a daily basis, this means that most of what we do is reviewing federal projects to account for any potential sites of historic interest to the Quapaw Nation when the government is planning any actions or undertakings. In the month of June, we reviewed 354 federal projects that were either in Quapaw Nation jurisdiction or our ancestral territory. And then we also worked on the MAMEL PA, which was a programmatic agreement with the United States Army Corps of Engineers. They are doing an ecosystem restoration project to return a portion of the river to a more natural alignment because of flooding and erosion issues. But there is a high potential for archaeological sites along the banks of this river. And so we worked on a PA with them to negotiate their studying of the area prior to doing any ground disturbing work. And then we also worked on an issue at Toltec that's involving flooding. Toltec is a state park and an important historic mound site that's located next to a small oxbow lake near Little Rock, Arkansas. And the nearby group has raised artificially the level of the lake, which is causing flooding at the site. And we have been working and advocating to get this changed for a number of years. And we had some work and some calls and discussions with EPA, and it looks like there's going to be some movement on that. So we are happy there. And then we also worked on the Bradley project, which is another long and large ongoing project we've been dealing with. An archaeological site named the Bradley site, which is owned privately by a farmer. And he applied for deep tilling funding from NRCS, and due to a miscommunication within their agency, funding was released prior to doing any study, which we would have not approved it in the current way it was written. So they tilled the site, there was damage done. And then under the law, we are then able to do what's called a mitigation, and they will pay to do some sort of way to make up for what they've done. And so we've been working on that for, I think, 4 years, but we've been having some movement on that on places that we're going to study. It takes a while to negotiate with federal agencies, especially with complicated issues like that. But we're having some movement on that project as well. And that's everything we did during the month of June. Is there any questions for my report?
Thank you, Everett. Next up, Tax Commission, Debbie Ray.
Morning. My name is Debbie Ray. I'm tax commissioner. All licenses are current and up to date at this time. Quapaw Casino Authority.
Can you talk into the mic, please?
Next will be Quapaw Casino Authority doing business as Quapaw Casino and RV. The retailer tobacco and beer and liquor will come due August 27th. The tobacco is a 1-year license and the beer and liquor is a 2-year license. The total revenue collected for FY21 for licensing is $1,030. Guys have an updated spreadsheet. When I did my monthly report, the only taxes that I had at that time was for May. So the June came in and I updated the spreadsheet and provided that today. For June, the tribal sales tax rate is 7%, well, 7% at all times. Total collection remittance was $72,758.15. The safety sales tax at 1% for June was $10,394.01. The hotel tax at 10% for the month of June was $36,363.44. The liquor and beer tax at 1%, $3,128.73. Tobacco by the carton, 50 cents a carton was $137.50. And tobacco single pack at 05 was $377.60 for a total of $123,159.43. The year-to-date total for all taxes from all facilities is $936,222.14. Between the month of April and May, there was an increase of $5,131.38 overall in tax remittance. Between the month of May and June, there was a decrease of $2,582.51. The other revenue that's under the authority of the Tax Commission is motor fuels rebates that we receive from the state of Oklahoma. That is sent quarterly. So second quarter was $27,619.91. The year to date on it is $78,264.89. And on the tobacco tax rebate for the month of May was $17,544.15. And the to date on that is $140,760.91. Combined of all the tribal taxes and the state compact rebates that we have received to date is $1,155,247.94. With regards to the motor fuels compact, this the next time to update the tribal population, reportable population, will be in the second quarter of 2022. The last time that we updated the tribal population was in 2019, and that requires certification by either the BIA or a certified public accountant. Costs quite a bit. The Bureau does not do the certifications since the tribe has compacted out tribal enrollment. So last time we had the CPA firm of Anderson, Marks, and performed or to do the certification on the tribal population. There wasn't a significant amount that makes the revenue, so we probably won't do it like annually every time, do the update on it of the cost, because it costs between $1,250 to $2,750. It's all based on what is presented to the accountant's office. So there was in 2009, the reportable population was 1,564, and in 2019, it was 1,988. So that difference, to recoup what the costs are to do that, it's just not, I guess you would say, feasible or cost effective to pay every year to update when overall you won't get that back over the period of time. There were no reporting errors on any of the tax reporting forms after the updates and changing and everything since December. Now I think everybody's kind of on board on what form to use and how to report and everything. So that's pretty much lined out pretty good. As of right now, there's no returned or insufficient checks that are being processed for collection. National Intertribal Tax Alliance Conference is scheduled to happen again, this year. We didn't get to have it last year. It's going to be at River Spirit Casino, and Mary Mashunkashay met with some of the tribal leaders and started going over that. And I don't have the agenda at this time for it. And they're also, Mary's looking for vendors. If anybody wants to set up and be a vendor at the event, write that down, her email address, but I can get that if anybody's interested in being a vendor during the tax conference. And that's going to be held September the 19th through the 24th at River Spirit in Tulsa. ATAC, with regards to ATAC, we're still struggling along trying to build, funds for our scholarship program. At this time, we're not taking any applications for scholarships because we're not able to have larger events to generate additional funds. So right now we're not issuing scholarships. We're hoping that maybe by next year we can do that. So in the between time, we've been having smaller events. We had a bake sale and Frito chili pie sale at the City Hall in Quapaw, and that raised $667.25. And then July the 2nd, we set up as a concession vendor at the farmer's market, and our concession side of it, we raised $723.09. I don't know where that 9 cents came in, but every penny does help. And then on our raffle tickets, we had two raffles running. One was on a fireworks package that was donated by Papa Boom Booms from Quapaw, and a Pendleton plank. The combination of those raffle tickets, $1,113. $1,113. I've been helping Rhonda with getting the senior stat software, getting that up and going. And I helped Billy Bertram with the youth programs, do the event that got canceled and rescheduled and back on schedule. And so I don't know for sure when that's going to happen, but I helped do a trifold, and that included a recipe for fry bread and a little bit of history about the fry bread. So,
just to be clear, the cultural camp that was scheduled and then rescheduled, what is the status? Do we know?
I don't think it's got a definite date yet.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Billy's working on scheduling a date for us to meet to discuss that.
They were talking maybe in the fall, maybe.
Mhm.
So I don't have anything penciled in yet on my calendar.
To be determined.
It's to be determined at this time, but we have the flyer ready, or the trifold with the information about the fry bread.
Okay.
I've attended enrollment meetings, been attending meetings via Zoom, attended the employee appreciation event, and I assisted tribal members with COVID applications, getting those submitted. And I had a few that had contacted me in regards to tribal tag issues, whether certain things had to be tagged if they were brought into Oklahoma and whatnot. That's pretty much, yeah.
All right. Good. Any questions?
I had someone ask me the other day about the ATV tags and registration with the tribe. I told them that you had been working on that in the past, but I wasn't sure where you were at with it, or Melissa was at.
As we discussed in our December meeting, we need to sit down and look at the structure of that. There's a lot of expansion that can be done, but I think we need to first go to the structure of how tax commission, tags, and all that fall together. In the report, that information for tags, that revenue from there is not included. Because she already gets it, so. But yes, I'm ready to do it, as long as we sit down and get the structure, overall structure of how it should flow and how it should operate.
All right, let's get together.
All right. Any other questions?
If there are no other questions, good report, Debbie Ray. Thank you. Next up, with Title VI, we have Rhonda Weaver.
Morning, I'm Rhonda Weaver with the Title VI and Caregiver Program. In June, the congregate meals, we served 542 meals. Delivery, which is homebound and coming in to carry out, 2,717. We had 191 volunteers, 92 staff, and walk-ins. A total of 3,542.
Rhonda, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you put that mic to your mouth? I don't.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Do you want me to repeat it? We did a June Jamboree Medicare Part D event. We had 170 elders and 37 volunteers that participated in it. Our Father's Day dinner, we served 214, counting congregate and homebounds and ones that come in and carry out. We had the fathers, I gave a Father's Day's gift, and it was 95 fathers received a gift. We have anywhere between 18 and 20 that comes in to sit to eat. The rest of them is mostly come in to carry them out and take them home. I have 4 employees. Right now I have 1 that is out. We are doing great. Everybody seems to enjoy our food, and we love the gifts that we got from downstream to pass out. So thank you very much for that. We did start back up our beading class, and we have about 13 that comes in and beads, and we're doing great. I have 6 on the caregiver program that's respite care and or need some kind of help. I did on one of our elders needed a lift chair, and I was able to get a lift chair for him. So that helped him a lot, and he was really happy with it. So we're glad to help him with that. We are, as Debbie mentioned, the Senior Start program that we had. I think the elders are beginning to like it. They have a card and they swipe it. It really helps me on the counts. We are double checking ourselves now. I sit and have a paper writing the names down to make sure. Once in a while they'll hit it and it'll go back off or something and it doesn't count it, but we're doing pretty good. It's coming up with the numbers, and I really like the program, and I think they're getting used to it now too. It was just something new to them and they weren't sure about it. And the other tribes are seeing what I have, and so the Wyandotte and the Otterways are looking into getting one too. Debbie, I appreciate all her help with it. We are working on getting it going on the route. We haven't got that one done yet. It took us a while for the one there at the congregate meals because we had to get new applications, phone numbers, because if they don't have their card
they can put their phone numbers in there. So we are getting that, working out how we can do it on the route and get that count pretty good. We have 62 on the route, so, and then, just keeping busy. And any questions?
Any questions for Rhonda? Rhonda, I just want to say thank you to both you and Debbie Ray for continuing to provide service to our people through the meals and everything that you guys do over there with the programs as well. And congratulations to you on your 25 plus years of service to the tribe. Gonna gay.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Eric Boone.
Morning. We've been really busy. Never seems to slow down. June, our general fund received revenue of 1.67 million, bringing our total for the year to $20 million. Actual expenses were 1.8 million for June, bringing our total for the year to 16.8 million. Our tribal member health benefit, June expenses were 363,000, bringing that total for the year to 3.9 million. Social services for June was 178,000. That total for the year is 1.7 million. And then our education expenses for June were 31,000. Total for the year to 513,000. That number will jump significantly starting in July with our fall semester funding opening up. Those applications are coming through steadily right now. Our ARPA relief payments, we've processed 4,576 checks so far, totaling just under $11 million. We've got 2 more weeks in the application period. So if you haven't applied for that, make sure that you get that in before July 31st or postmarked in the mailbox by July 31st. And our tribal enterprises for the year have contributed $2.8 million to the general fund. Anybody have any questions?
How many, Eric, just on the COVID relief funds, what percentage would you say we're at that we've sent out of total people available?
I think we are, I had to guess, we're probably at about 82, 83% of what's eligible.
Okay. So if you still haven't applied for those funds, it's out there, and you know, we have a deadline. But no, I don't have any other questions. Thank you, sir. Next up, we have subcommittee reports. Miss Gracie Good Eagle with the Elders Committee.
Hey. A lot has happened since our last meeting here in June. Most notably was our Quapaw Powwow, which was well attended, and I think most people had a very good time at the powwow. On July 4, we did have our general council meeting. At that meeting, it was mentioned that there were available these cards that were there. Now, there needs to be some clarification on this card, and there's some back on the table. The thought of the Elders Committee was we would like to get more information from you as far as the Quapaw ways. We don't want to ignore our Quapaw ways. We don't want to neglect them. So So this is an attempt to get some information together so that people will have a better idea of the Quapaw way and how to live your life. So, but if you have questions, as I ask at General Council for the elders who are serving on the subcommittee to raise their hands, several did. We have people here who are on the subcommittee with us. So that's this. But if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask us. on that.
Gracie, is there a time frame or a deadline for how long you want to collect that data?
No, it's an ongoing thing as people think about it or have a chance to work with it. So this is an ongoing, we're collecting information about the Quapaw way, ways, I should say. And so again, it's an ongoing thing. There's no deadline on it. And it's turned out that this has turned out to be something like a multi-purpose card. So that's why we needed a little clarification on this, because some cards were filled out and they actually weren't for us, for our purpose, but they were for somebody else. So some cards got passed on to other people. So that's, again, if you have any question though but what we are really looking for, because we are, as elders, we want to be sure as part of our legacy that we can have information that we can pass on to generations now and have information available for future generations. As far as our committee, in June, we had mentioned we wanted to have someone from the Quapaw Nation court to visit with us. Well, it turns out that we were invited to go to the Quapaw Tribal Court. So we do have a court over there. And they had a wonderful grand opening. But we were also concerned about what is it that the court does? What is its function? We've got some upcoming things as well. So our meeting this month was at the Nation Court, which is very interesting. Carissa met with us and she told us about a lot of the things that the court does. We got a tour. And so we had our meeting over there as well. So that worked out very well. Other than that, for the rest of the year, unfortunately, 2021 is not looking promising because of the pandemic. We thought things were looking better, but unfortunately, it does not. So we're not able to plan any kind of a trip for our elders this year. It doesn't look, again, very promising, but we are looking forward to next year. I would also like to mention that we have been involved with the ANA project about getting information about tribes in this area. Of the 9 tribes that we had, there is going to be, excuse me, a center that's going to be opening near the Seneca, Missouri side. And all of the tribes were invited to tell their story. So we've been involved with that. There'll be some more interviews taken, but the deadline on that is August 8th. Any kind of interviews. So we may well be in touch with you. So that's an event coming up. So other than that, we're here.
I'm glad you're here. All right. Thank you, Gracie. Next up, we'll have new business. And this is resolution 071721A. And this is the restructure of the Quapaw Nation Court. And basically what this does is it accomplishes several different things. One being It distinguishes our lower court from the Supreme Court, and it establishes a Supreme Court, which we haven't had in the past. It further clarifies the responsibilities and duties of the chief judge. And then it also establishes that we have a routine schedule of at least at a minimum one docket per week. And so those are some of the finer details of the resolution, and I'll entertain a motion to approve or adopt.
Move to approve.
We have
I'll
a
second.
motion by Guy, second by Callie. Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? All right, the motion carries and the resolution is approved. Next up, we have our purchases. Michelle, could you take the first one?
Okay, it's a purchase of a Ford 150 and uplift for the Department of Public Safety. This truck is to be utilized to pick up PPE and COVID supplies from FEMA supply depots in our area and to transport those items to various facilities with the Quapaw Nation. The vendor selection was TCS Upfitting. That was selected for because the cost of their vehicle was the lowest among the bids. One of the vendors did not include the cost of an upfit in their quote, and they also quoted the quickest turnaround time of 90 days from date of order. And the quote was for $38,265.35.
I just wanted to be clear on the funding source. I know it said COVID funds, but I would just ask that we be more specific.
Mhm.
Chairman, I think this will come from CARES rather than ARPA.
Okay. Okay, that was the only issue I had with it. So I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
We have a motion by Zach to approve the purchase.
Second.
We have a second by Michelle. Any discussion? And again, just to clarify, this will be coming from the CARES Act funding. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the motion carries and the request is approved, or the request is approved. A vehicle upfit. Michelle, you mind taking that one, please?
Okay, let me find it here. This is for a 2016 Ford Expedition. Will be upfitted for emergency lights, sirens, radios. Was received from downstream and is being upfitted for the Department of Public Safety. There were only 2 bids that were secured. It's going to be coming, the source that is from Burlington Northern Grant, the grant for $5,181. And it was, yes, for the emergency management.
Okay. You want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion to approve the purchase. We
I
have a
will-
second. Second
will-
by Callie. Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the motion carries and the purchase is approved. Next up, Hover Tech with Department of Public Safety. Mr. Turley, you mind taking that?
This is a patient moving device. This is a patient moving device. it's made. It lifts a patient up off the ground and gets them to cot level, where they can slide them over, reduce back injuries and things. Also reduces hand contact with the patient with the COVID outbreak. They can move them up and down stairs with it. It's kind of like a hovercraft that you would see out. It's crazy how it works. This is going to be bought through the COVID funds through CARES Act, correct? Yes. So CARES Act funds. And it is $25,455, and that is for 5 of them. 5, Eric? Yes.
5 hover tag basically in each of our ambulances. Is that right?
Yep, it would put 1 in every ambulance.
Okay. And it also increases the overall response rate, right?
Yeah, it decreases risk on back injuries and stuff because they're not picking a patient up off the floor. It deflates completely down flat. They can roll the patient on it, and then it has a little air deal, just airs it right up. I think it'll go up to like 4 feet or something like that. That it raises them all the way up.
Okay. And what was the total again?
$25,455.
You want to make a motion?
I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Zach for the hover tech equipment, and then a second by Lloyd. Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? All right, the motion carries and the purchase is approved. Zach, can you take the next one?
Yes, I'm getting it pulled up here real quick. All right. This is for a Zoll X Series cardiac monitor defibrillator. This would replace, it's for 2 of them. It would replace 2 monitors that are 7 years old. So they're becoming outdated. This would also be purchased with CARES Act money. Total on it is $65,514.02. And these are the monitors that do all the 12 leads, cardiac monitoring, defibrillation, all that stuff in the back of the ambulance. They also have the CPR assist and all that stuff on them.
And what did you say the source of funds were?
It would also be CARES Act funding.
Okay. Okay.
To move to approve.
All right. We have a motion to approve by Guy. Second.
I'll second.
Second by Callie. Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? All right, the motion carries and the purchase is approved. Next up, Lloyd, you mind taking that one?
This is for rubberized laptops for the marshals. Total of 15. From the general fund, there's 15 for a total of $33,849.60. Panasonic Tough Book 55 14-inch.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Callie. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? I would like to clarify the total. Lloyd, you mentioned it was 33,000, and on the paperwork I listed 34,308. So I just want to clarify the discrepancy. I'm looking back through my notes here.
He didn't include the shipping costs, but it's
Okay. So total, it's 34,308.
correct.
Okay. Okay, that's all I had. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? The motion carries and the purchase is approved. Thank you, Lloyd. Next on our agenda, we have donations. And the first one we have is a request from the American Indian Center of Springfield, Missouri, from Mr. Cricket Rice. Is Cricket in the audience or on the Zoom today?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Awe O-gah-pah. Good morning, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you, Mr. Chairman, as the rest of the Business Committee. My name is Cricket Rice. I'm the Vice Chairman of the American Indian Center in Springfield, Missouri, and today I brought along with us Kay Gibson, who is our chairperson of the American Indian Center, and then I also have two individuals, Valerie Falcon and Wendy Lynn. The tribes in which we represent, Valerie comes from the Bois Forte people up into just north of was basically Cloquet, Minnesota, actually Bois Forte Reservation. Kay, she's part of the Talagi Nation down in Tahlequah, and then Wendy is part of the Cheyenne River and Standing Rock Sioux, or I'm sorry, Lakota of South Dakota, and I'm Sac and Fox and also Quapaw as well. What I'm here for, ladies and gentlemen, is to ask a little bit of help, or ask for a little bit of help. The area in which we reside at, or where the Indian Center is located at, is in Springfield, Missouri. At this point in time, there are a lot of Native Americans that are up there, and in the past couple of generations, a lot of Native Americans have left the reservations or left Oklahoma and moved up there to utilize the area for jobs, that sort of thing. Unfortunately, a lot of the individuals have passed on, and their children and grandchildren are basically kind of stuck there, if you will. Now, there are a lot of elders up there, and our mission and what we're trying to do is not necessarily take care of the Indians themselves, but taking care of the whole, how would you put it, the whole community, if you will. Like I said, there's a lot of Native Americans up there, and what we are trying to do is raise cultural awareness, because unfortunately, and it's very unfortunate, I need to mention this, but the state of Missouri does not recognize Native Americans in any shape or form. And we have gotten a lot of resistance towards a lot of the companies there, as well as the state, to try to utilize some of their funding for grants and that sort of thing. And it's always that we're coming into closed and locked doors and no one wants to hear us. So what I'm wanting to do, as well as the rest of the board, is we'd like to start approaching the tribes in northeastern Oklahoma to see what we could do about getting some type of funding. Now, the funding in which we need these monies to actually utilize for and allocate for is to work for, like, for example, like Meals on Wheels, what Miss Weaver is doing. We have Christmas dances coming up. We'd like to get some gifts for some of the children, even some of the elders, because a lot of our elders are young at heart. I know this because I've been in this community, and I see elders out here, and I see how they're always wanting Christmas candy and that sort of thing. And, you know, it makes me feel good to give back to our people. So while we're up there, for example, school's coming up, school supplies, shoes, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of need up there amongst the Native Americans. And we're just trying to raise cultural awareness. We've been having a lot of events, not just in the Springfield area, but down here, even in Oklahoma. And we plan on to have even more. For example, we're going to have like about a Halloween party for our children. We're also going to have like a Thanksgiving to invite all of our tribal people in the area. We're also going to have a Christmas dance, and we have a lot of different things that's going to be going on throughout the year. Now, unfortunately, at this point in time, we do not have our own facilities, and what we are doing right now, or we are utilizing, or in conjunction with the Fairbanks building with the Drew Lewis Foundation. And they've been helping us out considerably by letting us utilize their facilities and whatnot for meetings and some of the dances and whatnot. However, when it comes time for us to start applying for grants and getting more money to come in to help us, you know, accomplish our goals and whatnot and eradicate all the situations we need to take care of, we're very limited. And the reason we're limited is, one, we don't have our own 501c just as of yet. We're looking into that. Our grant committee is looking into that. And we don't actually have our own facilities at this point in time. So the difficulties that we're running into, we can't get our 501c if we don't have our own facilities, and we can't get our own facilities without having our own 501c. Now, there's two forms to this, and we're just trying to do our best to find which one is going to be the best one for us to utilize to get taken care of what it is we need to take care of. So what we are here for, ladies and gentlemen, and Business Committee, is we're asking for your help with some type of a donation in which we could utilize this money to help with our future endeavors for our programs. We're actually going to start taking care of singing classes, dance classes, beading classes, shawl making classes. Wendy, get that forward. ribbon skirt making. There's a lot of different things which we're trying to do. And one of the main things is that I was born and raised in Chicago, but a lot of you know me. And while I was growing up there at that Indian Center, there was a lot of kids that didn't have a lot of opportunity to learn things. However, what I'm trying to do, I know Springfield is not exactly the biggest metropolis in the world, but nevertheless, we're trying to do our best to help our youth, to keep them off the streets. We're going to have like youth programs, summer programs, not this year, but the following year. So all of the money, we're going to try to allocate it and put it for different things that we can not only help our youth, elders, but anybody that needs help. Also, there are a lot of people up there, which a lot of our elders here and people within Ottawa County, we take for granted. And we have some elders up into the Springfield area who are Native American, but can't get to Miami, Oklahoma to utilize the Indian Health Services. One of the things I'm going to be doing, which I've talked to Jim Adams and Mr. Frank Fletcher, who I work with part-time, they're going to start donating some vehicles that we could actually bring our elders down to the clinic, let them utilize everything that they're going to need and get back. Also, too, I'd like to speak with different individuals who have been, CHRs, for example, like Carolyn Knott. I will speaking with her as well and see, to open some doors and give me some avenues till we could actually have individuals from here to come up and do health fairs and that sort of thing. Because as you know, diabetes, heart disease, there's a lot of things that run rampant with our Native American people. And we're just trying to do our best to take care of our Indian people. So that's one of the main reasons we're here, is to help our Indian people to come here, raise awareness, and we're just basically asking for your help. Now, the monies in which you guys may or may not give to us, like I said, it's going to be utilized for this, but as time goes on, we really need, not want, we need to get our own facility. Once we get our own facility, then the doors will start to open. And then at that point in time, then I can start making contact with Miss Nancy Pillsbury, who is Pillsbury Corporation, who happens to be adopted Osage. She shows up to Washington University Powwow every year wearing Osage clothes. And she was adopted by Archie Mason and a couple of other individuals. And like I said, how many are familiar with the Pillsbury Corporation? There'll be the dough man. Well, anyways, Nancy, she's now the owner. She has contributed a lot of money with the Indian Centers up in Chicago and St. Louis. And at that point in time, I'm always going to be calling upon her. But like I said, before we can actually start getting these grants and everything and start pulling in our money, we're going to have to start utilizing the tribes as best we can. And that's what we're here for. We really, really need your help. So we'd like for you to take into consideration what we're trying to do. And none of us here are doing this for our own personal gain in any shape or form. We're here to help our Indian people, because the thing is, our Indian people are all we have. Whether if it's our elders, we have to learn from them. We're going to be teaching. We have classes. We're going to bring in other individuals, not just up there from other tribes from this area to come up there. And as a matter of fact, I'm more than likely be calling upon Carolyn Knott to come up and do shawl making classes, that sort of thing. So education is the key, and we're just trying to teach our youth and keep our youth in a right, as we call it, going down the right road. Because drugs, things like this, it's so easy for them to get. And we're just trying to make it more difficult by bringing them back to where we need to be. Tradition, not addiction. And that's the main thing right there. So like I said, ladies and gentlemen in committee, we're trying to do our absolute best, but at this point in time, we really, really need your help. You guys have any questions or anything?
Yeah, I had just a couple.
Yes, ma'am.
One of them, what other tribes have you approached? Have you approached any, and have they assisted so far?
That's a very good question. Unfortunately, every time we try to approach a tribe due to the COVID restrictions and that sort of thing, they have been telling us, well, they've been kind of putting us on the back burner, if you will. However, the Quapaws are the first people that we're approaching, but we're going to start approaching the other tribes as well. And I'm going to be getting on their agendas and see what I can do about asking them to help us as well.
And you were saying that you're trying to get established as a nonprofit. How long have you been established, though, as a committee?
We have been going basically for what, about a year and a half, 2 years? About a year and a half to 2 years now. And as we are seeing it, working with the Drew Lewis Foundation, we're just having difficulties trying to find our own thing, because unfortunately, and it's unfortunate I need to bring this up, nevertheless, there have been numerous Indian centers within that Greene County and area that have formed within the past 30 to 40 years. Unfortunately, a lot of these individuals have taken that money and filled their pockets up. Embezzlement has happened, that sort of thing. And that's really unfortunate, because all that has done is just cause stigmatism or difficulties for us. And what we are trying to do, and I have told them once they have brought me on a board, that we need to have transparency. If anyone needs to see if we need to be audited for anything, that way they could actually see what the money's being utilized for. This is what it's going to be utilized for. None of us have our own credit cards, nothing at all like that. It's all going to be for the committee. And anytime that money is used, all of us as a committee or the board actually vote upon it before we actually start utilizing it. So not one person runs this thing. Not one person has their hand in the pot. We all try to work together for the common good of our Indian people. Does that answer your question?
It did. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So where are you at on the status of getting your 501c3 status?
Currently, right now, our business, not business committee, but our grant committee, grant writing committee, which consists of one individual out of Lamar, Missouri. She happens to be good friends with one of the state representatives of Missouri. Apologize, I got big lips. But anyways, we also have some other individuals that have worked with other tribes and myself working with the Indian Center in St. Louis as well as Chicago. I've got some ties there. But like I said, before we can actually do this, it's going to cost us a little bit of money to get this. It's roughly about $600. And there's a short form and a long form. If we utilize the short form, that's all good and well. But the thing is, if we utilize the short form, we can only get so much money within a certain period of time. If we go the long form, which would take us a little bit longer, 6 to 8 months, if you will, once we get that, then sky's the limit. Then we can do as much as what we need. Now, one of the main things that we're really, really wanting to get keyed in on is that there are a lot of Native American children up there in Springfield. And I ran into this when I was in St. Louis, and there were a lot of them coming up to me. I'm Indian, but I don't know who I am or where I come from. And the thing is at that time, the adoption records opened up in 1998, and I helped a lot of people get on their own tribal rolls. So we really need to have individuals who are familiar with the Indian Child Welfare Act to come up there and help us assist these children get back where they need to go, or get what it is that they need so they can, be productive, that sort of thing. And also too, we're also looking to possible scholarships. There's all kinds of things, like I'd said, but in order for us to do this, we just basically have to get started on the right foot, and we're doing our absolute best. Unfortunately, we are doing everything we can to raise money with dances, benefit dances and things like this, but the money's just not coming in that soon. And the reason for, I know everybody's on a budget, and I totally understand that, but we're just trying to do what we can. And with the COVID restrictions finally lifting, which I'm glad, but we're still taking precautions nevertheless. We're just trying to do what we can where we can. And like I said, that's the reason we're here today, is asking you guys for help.
Okay. So, I think that everybody up here is in support of what you guys are trying to accomplish. I think that the greatest weapon that you're going to have at your disposal, though, is this tax status. And I think that goes without saying. Do you have filed articles?
Yes.
In the state of Missouri?
Yes, we are starting that right now, getting the ball rolling.
Okay. Is it certified to the Secretary of State? Have you received it back?
It's a very good question.
So in order to apply and be approved under 501c3 status, you have to be a legally incorporated entity, whether that be an LLC. Okay.
Yes, we are.
And so I was saying, have you received your articles back and they've been certified? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so I think that's the biggest thing that I would like for us to help you guys with, is further filing on that there is going to be some legal fees associated with that in order to get it filed. So if you guys are open to us helping you in order to secure that tax status. And then I would also like to move that we pay for all the candy for your children's Halloween party and an additional $750.
That's great. That's greatly appreciated. But nevertheless, we have a lot of dances coming up. We have one major powwow coming up this coming September 24th, 25th, and 26th, which we're going to utilize funds to pay our head staff coming in. And as you know, it takes a lot of money to put on a powwow, but actually after this powwow is all said and done, anything that we have spent will probably come back to us through our vendor fees, our raffles, that sort of thing. So we're not trying to make money off of that. It's just that, anything that we do, we want to make sure that we break even, if you will, so that we never ever go into the hole. So like I said, I know it may be a little much to ask for, but I had spoken with the board a little bit earlier today while we were having breakfast before we got here, and we'd like to ask you guys, and possibly shooting for about 25 to 30 G's, if that is at all possible. And like I said, we would have complete transparency. We would give you receipts, everything, all the penny would come down, everything would come down to the penny and be accounted for. And it's not necessarily for a powwow, but we have to pay our individuals who are coming in from out of state for teaching how to do beadwork. For example, when it comes to beadwork, there are a lot of different styles, a lot of different colors, and a lot of different things like this. But growing up from a traditional standpoint, which the majority of us are, we also have a firm belief that if you are going to be doing something, you have to be doing it in the right manner or in the right way. So the individuals that we have coming in and teaching us, they're going to explain to us, well, certain colors mean certain tribes, certain colors mean certain clans, certain societies, certain families, or, you know, firstborn, secondborn. I mean, there's a lot of meaning behind the beadwork, as well as the applique and the designs and the ribbon work as well. There's a lot of meaning behind that. So what we're trying to do is get focused on teaching the right and the correct manner, because the problem is that we've seen, and perhaps I may be stepping on people's feet, but I'm not trying to, so please don't take it like I'm being facetious or anything along the lines of that. But our people are suffering on account of people doing something, seeing something, and they want to start doing it, and they don't take the necessary steps to find out what it means, the meaning behind it. And there's a lot of prayers and a lot of things that go along with this. So when they do things in an ill manner, so to speak, they may not necessarily be hurting themselves. They may be hurting someone in their family or somebody within their people. And I know I see a lot of tribes who are suffering, and I look back and I see what they're doing, not trying to criticize them, but perhaps that's some of the things that, you know, they're kind of bringing it on themselves because they're not doing things in the right manner. However, with us, with the Indian Center, we're trying to do our best to make sure that we do things in the right manner. So that's what we're here today for, is, like I said, just trying to do our absolute best that we can. And anything that you could give us, we certainly appreciate. But like I said, we have a lot of things coming up that we're trying to do before we can actually start, you know, applying for these grants and whatnot. And we are going to need some money. So, I mean, it's not like we're here trying to beg for money, but we're just really, really asking for your help.
No, I think that we understand that, and I think that we certainly want to help. I think at least this committee creates a budget for monetary donations every year. 25 to 30,000 would certainly shake its bedrock pretty good, and that's certainly not something that and I'm probably just speaking for the rest of us, feel comfortable approving or disapproving right here, right now. But I do know what we can commit to help you with is certainly with some of your legal endeavors. Like I said, this tax status is going to be, even assume that I gave you $25,000 today, you're still a taxable entity. Mm-hmm. And what I would rather do is help alleviate that. And that way you're not having to suffer the burden, you know, that tax itself. And then also it makes you more attractive as a foundation to go fundraise money whenever you have potential tax credits or write-off expenses to other taxable entities that you would be fundraising money through. So,
would there be another meeting that we could actually come in and go through closed sessions and actually present to you all, or the rest of the business committee, everything that what we're trying to do? Would that be helpful on our part?
Yeah, I think that an at-length presentation, I think would be something that we could take a look at.
Wonderful.
And we don't even have to do it as a closed session item. We can just have a meeting.
Sounds good to me, Mr. Chairman.
And then also something else I would suggest is Wednesday is our monthly Intertribal Council meeting, where all the area chiefs will be there in attendance, or some other representative of the tribe will be there. So if you or a member of your board or all of you have time on Wednesday, that'll be at 9 a.m. And if you'd like, I think I can squeeze you onto the agenda with the clerk there, with the secretary, if you're interested in that.
What would be the location of this meeting?
It's at the ITC, right there by the old clinic.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds fine. I mean, I could certainly attend, and I could round up the rest of them and see what we could do about approaching the rest of the tribes at that point in time.
Yeah, I think that would be a good opportunity to get in front of those leaders that are in those decision-making places of decision. So, yeah.
Renegade. Counselor, if you would, I'd like to get your card about possibly utilizing your services, or if you happen to know anybody in the state of Missouri that could certainly help us pro bono, so to speak.
We'll help you.
Wonderful. I certainly appreciate it. Well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for taking up your time, but I just want you to know that we have a lot of things going on, and we invite you to please come up and participate. And business committee, I'd like to take this time to say thank you to each and every one of you, Denigay, in our O-gah-pah language like that, and certainly appreciate your time and wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Denigay, and thank you. Um, what action did we want to do there?
Mr. Chairman, I guess I'd move to table the matter until we have a further meeting.
Okay. We have a motion to table the request until we have a further meeting with the rest of the board.
Second.
We have a second by Michelle, I believe. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? The motion carries and the request is tabled until a future meeting is held. Next up, our donation. Zach, can you take that, please?
Yes, I believe they are here, actually. You want them to come up and talk?
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Mr. Sean Ellick.
Morning. As you know, my little granddaughter, she's a little over a year and a half.
Sean, can you speak into the mic, please?
Yeah, my granddaughter, she's just a little over a year and a half, and she's just been recently diagnosed with neuroblastoma. And she's actually had her first round of chemo this morning in Memphis at St. Jude's. So we are putting on a benefit gourd dance, stomp dance on the 31st. And I'm here asking for a $750 donation to help get food for the dinner that we're going to have for supper break, help buy concession items and whatever else we may need. Do it. And we've been posting, we have t-shirt sales that we're doing for them to help them with their everyday expenses and driving back and forth that my son's getting ready to start doing in a couple of weeks. She's going to be there upwards of 18 months to 24 months. Seeing her arms and her legs and her hips. So we got all kinds of donations already for this dance, and as far as giveaways, raffles, and stuff in that nature. I was just wanting to come to you all to, like I said, help with the concession stuff and the food for the dinner that we're going to have that evening. Anything will help. So ask you all for that.
Hey, Sean, first of all, I want to say our hearts go out to you and your family and your grandbaby. And, you're in our thoughts and our prayers during this time. And we are definitely committed to wanting to help try to offset some of those expenses that are going to be incurred. So I am on board with this request. I just had a couple questions as far as the details of it. You said the 31st. Is that July 31st?
Yeah, it's July 31st, and it will be held at the Peoria grounds. Damien Black Fox is going to be the head singer for the gourd dance session. Her great uncle Henry Ellick is going to be our head gourd dancer. And it's a little our AD, and John Archiketa is going to be our MC. And Trenton Stand, he's going to run the stomp dance session of the evening time.
Do you have your flyers already made up?
Yes, we have flyers. Actually start distributing them around on Monday. Yeah, she can we'll be putting them out and around the communities around starting on Monday.
Good. Okay. I don't have any other questions.
I'll make a motion to approve the 750.
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve by Callie, second by Michelle. Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? All right, the motion carries and the request is approved. Again, you're in our thoughts and prayers, Sean. Thank you.
Sean, can you come here for a minute, please? You come up here for a minute, just for a minute. Get on up here. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Next up, we have the Murrow Indian Children's Home. And the contact there is Betty Martin. And do we have Betty Martin in the audience?
No, Chairman, she is not here.
Okay. I believe the request that was made was for $5,000. And this organization or these facilities offers different services specifically that are useful for, it looks like a pregnant teen program and a teen mom program that provides cottages and a facility for those individuals. And there are several other various programs that are offered through these facilities. And I guess my suggestion or what I thought about this was, we've been invited to visit and tour the facility. And I think I would like to take that request up or that invitation up. I haven't been in touch with Miss Betty Martin or any of their other leadership over there at the program or the facilities. So before, we make or approve or deny a request for $5,000, I'd at least like to gather more information. That way we can make a more informed decision on the money or the request before we approve it. Those are my thoughts. Does anybody else have any questions or comments on this?
Chairman, I concur with what you said. Just to add to that, I spoke with Steva prior to this, and she is very reachable. And Mandy with our Indian Child Welfare and Carissa with our court both say that they think they can utilize this program. So I would like to tour it as well.
Okay. I think we should set up at a bare minimum a conference call between Carissa, Mandy, and then the leader of their facility, their organization, and maybe we can get some ideas on how we can utilize that and make this decision. So do we want a motion to table?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to table pending a further discussion with the children's home.
We have a motion to table the request pending a further discussion of the program by Guy, and a second by Lloyd. Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Any abstention? The motion carries and the request is tabled. Next up, we have open forum. And at this time, I'd like to acknowledge our tribal citizens who are no longer with us. Between the last monthly business committee meeting and this month's, I've had one person come to me, and that is an Albert Clark. And if there are any other individuals that need to be recognized, I'll take those now as well.
Robert Clark, or not, sorry, Robert Crop, Bob Crop passed away last night.
Bob Crop. Okay. Anybody else? If there are no other individuals, I'll ask now for a moment of silence so we can pay respect. Gonna gay. As we move through open forum, I just had a couple of announcements to make. As Karen mentioned, we had the Dagihah Language Conference that is being hosted at Downstream July 28th and 29th. I encourage everyone, we have 20 participants, and it's a free program to those individuals that want to attend and learn. It's really not just a language conference. It's more than that. It's more of a cultural exchange between all of our relatives and our relations from the Omaha, the Wajaji, the Osage, even our Ponca people. There's Ka, and then of course we have a good representation from the Quapaw. So it's always a good annual event. It's always good to have that reunion and come together. We usually have like a dance or a hand game or something like that the first night. I haven't seen the agenda for it just yet, but I'm sure we'll have something. But I encourage everyone to attend if you can, and that's July 28th and 29th. And then also, I've been asked to make an announcement regarding previous phone polls and minutes. It's been brought to our attention that they haven't been included or posted on our website. So we definitely want to start including the phone polls and minutes just as a reflection of what's been going on with our meetings. And from my understanding, those haven't been posted in over 6 years. So it's not anything that this current administration is responsible for, but we definitely are responsible for fixing that. And we want to make sure that that's corrected and everything is up to date and posted for all of our citizens so that they can view it. And then another announcement that I wanted to make, I understand that there were some concerns, some issues brought up with the Powwow renovation. Again, I want to say that where we're at with the Powwow renovation is everything that was discussed and presented in the general council a couple of weeks ago. It's still at the conceptual phase. It's still a concept, meaning nothing is set in stone, nothing is concrete, and we're committed to doing everything we can in a respectful manner while still getting the project done and accomplishing some of the goals and things that are much needed within our tribal powwow grounds. And I think everybody is on board that there needs to be a change. I think there is a consensus that it has been long overdue, and how we go from there and what we accomplish, we'll definitely keep everyone in the loop. There will be community involvement. There has already been involvement initially to get us to that point, even of where we are today. We started having meetings several months ago, And, we had over 50 participants in the first meeting, which included members of our elders committee, members of our cultural committee. And I did misspeak at general council, and I said that the powwow committee was included on that initial meeting. I misspoke, and they were invited. However, Mike was unable to make that meeting, but I was sure to update him on all of the issues that people had and the considerations that were talked about. So I've definitely been keeping him in the loop as we move forward with this project, and we will continue to have those discussions and have those meetings. And we want to do it in a respectful way. We want to do it in a respectful manner for all of the individuals that have those family camps. One of the first things that we discussed was we didn't want to block any of the line of sight or view of any of the other camps, specifically from the hillside. So that's just one thing. And we've been working with the architects to do these renderings with the anticipation of it flooding down there. We are full aware that, those tribal grounds, they flood. They like to flood around May, just in time to, subside and make the preparations for the powwow as we come forward in July. So we know that we understand that it floods down there and it's a high risk. And so all of the materials and all of the thought process that went into that has considered a floodplain and the flood levels. So, we're working with the engineers and the architect firm to best implement the materials that are used, and some of the things that we do down there is all in contemplation of the risk of flooding. So that's something that we've taken into consideration. And as we move forward in this project, we will be happy to, make changes where necessary, and move forward in a respectful way. So I just want to put that out there with all of those announcements, and that's all I have for open forum. If anybody else has anything they'd like to say, the floor is open.
Morning, Joe. Henry Ellick. I'd just like to make a statement about my parents and the old folks who said there are some graves along that hillside. So that needs to be really evaluated and checked out, because that's a desecration of graves, and it needs to be checked. And Lloyd probably heard about it. He knows about that those graves are along that hillside somewhere. So, culturally, we can't do that.
Henry, are you talking about up by closer to the tribal admin building?
No, it's right by the bathhouses along that hill there somewhere.
But not on the other side of the grounds. You're not talking about the hill on the back side of the power grounds. You're talking about the one.
I just know it's along the hill. Lloyd's aware of it too.
Oh, yeah. So I want to say there's 6 graves that are along the hillside there. In fact, our grandmother and grandfather was the one that paid for the monument to respect those individuals and their families. And we're not going to touch that. We made perfectly the details around it. We've made sure that those won't be desecrated. Those won't be touched in any way.
Sean just said it's right along that Tom Bear's camp, along that area there behind the concession stand. Pretty close.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I have a Kelly Flanagan who'd like to speak.
All right, let me start over because it was muted. All right, so I tried to look at the rendering kind of by frame, and it looks like the grade of the hill going up to where the new arena would be is kind of steep. And you know how the kids like to roll down that grass? Because I watched them this year and they were just rolling down the hill like crazy. Would that hinder, would they be safe if they tried to roll down that hill because of the grade of the buildup?
Ms. Flanagan, actually what we're trying to do, at least what was discussed in the original discussion, was to shallow that pitch out, but shorten the number of, I guess, shorten the distance between the steps. That way there's a better viewing area for everybody within the arena, but it wouldn't get steeper. It would actually flatten out just a little bit.
All right, well, that was because I know that a lot of my family members were kind of concerned about the arena looking like a circus with all those bright colored canopies and whatnot. I just wanted to, excuse me, just clarify that a little bit.
And again, I think the canopies that were provided there, because in our initial meeting with a couple of our subcommittees, there was a request for shade. Kind of a hard built awning would be very difficult. These shades were proposed in the sense that we could put them up or take them down depending upon the weather.
All right, well, that sounds good. I just had that little question because I was watching the kids roll down the hill this year and I just wanted to make sure they weren't going to get hurt.
No, we're not going to mess with the hill. I spent my entire childhood rolling down that hill, and once with a bustle on, and I was red all up and down the backside, getting dragged back up the hill. So
I imagine so. All right, well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All righty, bye-bye.
That was actually my bustle guy and you ruined it. Thank you.
We also had a question from Sarah. She's wanting to know if there's already plans for the relief money that is not being collected by members after the program ends on the 31st.
So we're in the earlier stages of trying to figure out what we're going to do for allocation. I guess, as we had originally stated when we had a kind of a town hall meeting, we have yet to receive fully fleshed out guidance. We have some interim guidance that we're able to use that we think we could figure out something safe that will keep us within compliance with the ARPA. But again, I think this, again, also comes back to the powwow grounds. You know, there are certain earmarked categories within the ARPA in terms of how funds need to be spent and how they have to be spent, one of which is cultural expense, infrastructure, and construction. I think that from our standpoint, this is why we've had an early discussion and tried to involve tribal members, and the chairman had kind of noted this at General Council. There's a certain amount of those funds that have to be spent on cultural construction. And so there's kind of no better physical manifestation of our culture or tradition other than that event that we have every summer. There's other alternatives as well that we've discussed, like a cultural village, similar to what you'd see at like a museum structure at Cahokia, representations of kind of traditional dwellings and townships. And so again, we've got a couple other categories in there that qualify, whether it be healthcare related, most of the ARPA is geared towards prevention rather than reaction. And so it would be mostly geared toward the expansion of whether it be broadband, increased software so that you can have a staff that can readily adapt to being able to work remotely. That way that there's not this massive work-related depression in the event that we have another surge from a variant within COVID-19 or, heaven forbid, completely different pandemic. So, ongoing.
I also have a question from Mary McCarty. She is wanting to know if there can be a way for members on SSDI with a fixed income and not able to be employed, but under the elders age limit, to have their medical limit raised to the elders limit.
I think we've already built the plan for this enrollment period. To change it right now, I don't know whether that would be possible or not. I think that looking forward to the future, though, we might be able to take that suggestion into consideration, but it would be post-October, post-November of this year before we could really put that to work, and trying to build it into the plan and budget for it. So, but thank you for the suggestion. We'd be happy to look into it.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, we acknowledge and we recognize that there is a gap in program services for those individuals, specifically like you mentioned. And just to say, we are considering and trying to find a way to help fill that gap. So thank you.
And then I have two more questions from Kelly. She's asking, will there be any further renderings to be done? And can they vote on the final drawings?
Those renderings will likely change anyway. The colors will most likely change based off of what I've heard in the community. We may go a different route with cells and not have a temporary structure, but more of a permanent structure. So it's all in the works. We've yet to even put or assign a dollar amount to what this project will cost. And then once we have more information and more detail, we will definitely consider some type of either town hall or maybe do it in a separate meeting, most likely town hall, just to have all of the feedback from our citizens. So there'll be plenty of opportunity to voice your opinion on where and how this project develops. Any other questions or announcements?
None from Zoom.
Okay. Any in the audience? Okay, well, if there are no further announcements or questions coming out of open forum. Yes.
We have Mr. Mike Shawnee in the back.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for clarifying that you did talk to me, Joseph, about the renovation of the Powwow grounds. And I think I gave you my suggestions at that time, which was mainly the bathhouse and the concession stand. And just maybe the electric as well as the water and the awnings that we discussed about putting over the bleachers down below. I did have some concerns about the renderings with the shrinkage of the arena size. As you could tell this year, we were pretty full on Saturday nights. So that's one thing I really don't want to take away from is that arena size. But in other words, most of it I agree with. A lot of it needs to be changed. The roads need to be repaved. The mountains you call speed bumps need to be taken out. And we did have some issue with we need more golf carts with headlights because I got some reports that some of our guys about hit little kids because they didn't see them coming because they didn't have headlights. So, but just little safety things like that. We did get the light established over the low water bridge for those camps. So I was appreciative of that because we did have somebody have to be run back down there and they could actually see going over that bridge. So in other words, we had a good powwow this past year. We've already talked about making plans for next year. Big plans actually. So we'll keep discussing that as well. I need you and guys' help with that. So contractual wise anyway. And we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And I'm glad you made mention of that. Overall, it seemed to be a really successful powwow this year. And all of what we see and experience is a result of exceptional planning and preparing for those 4 days. And, I just want to say thank you to you and the rest of the committee for your hard work and those individuals that volunteer, and then our employees that volunteer from the tribe as well, to make that event what it is. It's always a busy time, but it's always a good time. And I was happy to, participate and be part of it this year. And just with COVID and where we are at in the world as a human race, it was good to, reconnect and be around the drum and have the fire and everything. It was a good time. So just want to say thank you. And then also the development with the renovation project will definitely, take a lot of meetings moving forward to get that in time and ready for the 150th, because it is going to be a big event. And like you said, not only are we cramped for space in the arena, but I noticed that, we've always been cramped for space when it comes to parking too. And figuring out how we go about making that better space available for all of the people that participate, because we're going to be expecting record crowds for next year because it is the 150th, and it's a pretty cool thing. Proud of it. It's a great time to be Quapaw, and I'm excited to work with you and other folks that are participating in this project. And we'll get together on the contractual stuff here pretty soon in the next week or so. Any other questions, concerns, announcements? If there are none at this time, we're going to be going into closed session. And I see we have a request for closed session with Donna. So at this time, I'll take a motion to go into closed session.
Move in closed session.
We have a motion by Guy, a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All All those opposed? Any abstention? Okay, we'll go into closed session now. Okay, coming out of closed session, are we all back?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Guy, if you would.
In closed session, the business committee met with our tribal administrator regarding several human resource issues, as well as some equipment needs around various administrative offices for the tribe. Additionally, in order to address kind of the current vaccination rate for the area, as well as safety of our employees, we put together an incentive plan for our tribal employees, and we are going to go ahead and provide a $100 bonus per employee when they show proof of full vaccination. We will also have 10, or well, they, once fully vaccinated, their name will be entered into a raffle where we will have 10 winners. Those winners will receive $1,000. And we expect to have IHS, and we're going to try and set up a vaccination event here at the community building here in the couple weeks to follow. So,
Mr. Chairman, I would ask that that be made into a motion, and I will make that motion.
All right. We have a motion as well. We have a motion by Lloyd and a second by Zach for the COVID response within our personnel. And we can clarify the language. Donna, are you good? Okay. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Hold on. Sorry. Debbie Ray, what do you got?
Is it just applicable to those that are being vaccinated from this point forward, or those prior to that have already been fully vaccinated?
If you bring in that card, the vaccination passport, and you show proof of vaccination, your name will be entered. You will receive $100, and then the name will be entered into the raffle.
That's anybody that's been vaccinated prior to today, and then anybody going forward.
All those in favor, or any other discussion?
Call for the question.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstention? The motion carries, and the program is approved. Next up, benediction. Jeremy, you mind closing us out in prayer?
God, the Creator, I come to you here at this time, dear Lord, just thankful for another day. That you might look down on our children that are sick here at this time. Just be with our elders and all our loved ones, dear Lord. We're thankful for all that you do for us. Thankful for this day we could gather and take care of business here today. And once again, we just want to give thanks and let you know that we care and we love you. Thank you.
Gonna gay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
I have a motion by Guy and a second by Michelle. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, the motion carries and we are adjourned. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
That was an ugly one too, huh?